Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack, and this is not your latest Manchester United news. It's something different. We're all sick of transfer news at the moment, especially as United fans. So we're again doing something different. We've done something similar last week where we picked our best potential starting 11 for the start of the season. So this week we're doing the best ever Manchester United 11. Now, let's get the rules down first and foremost. It's in our lifetime. Now, I know that may mean a little bit longer for certain people and a little bit shorter for other people. But basically, I think we're all in agreement with maybe the Premier League era. I think is probably a fair marker on it. So we're going to get into it, guys. We're going to go through our best 11 each, and we'll try and pick a combined 11 then at the end.
I think we should have sent a picture of our passports in for us to see we're not cheating dates or anything.
This is in black and white. This is black and white.
Picking lads from the 70s there, Chris. What?
I didn't watch it in the 70s. I didn't watch it in the 70s. I watched it in the 80s. Okay, so not in the 70s. I was born in the 70s. So
right, we'll give you that. We'll give you that. Please do smash a like in the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We want to know your favored 11 in your lifetime as well. So let us know if we've got any older people in the chat. Let us know as well, or younger people. But we do have to start, guys, obviously, with the sad news today of Diogo Jota sadly passed away in the early hours of this morning with his brother. Terrible, terrible, sad news. But it's kind of not that it makes it any easier, but it seems the whole global football fan base has come together, to kind of rally behind him. Terrible, sad news, isn't it?
Yeah.
But all we do is, of course, pass on our condolences and all of that as well. But look, we'll try and keep it light, and we'll try and keep it as positive as possible going through our 11s anyway. And we might as well go in. I don't know. We'll go clockwise, I suppose, will we? So the old guy on the left here we'll start with, or on the right, whichever one. Oisín, you can tell us which one is right and which one is left. I still don't know, but I figured out the fingers, but I don't know which direction it is. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Right, let's rock and roll. So, and again, guys, feel free to jump in and give Chris your thoughts when you're going through your starting 11, and of course when we're all doing it as well. Chris, first of all, take it away. Let us know what formation have you gone with?
I went with the 3-4-3, to be honest with you, or 3-4-2-1, however you want to put it.
Modern for the old guy. I like it.
Modern, but because to be honest with you, to fit like what Oisín was talking about backstage, to fit everybody in and tactically what you want to do, it's like,
it's not tactically, man. It's the best 11 you've seen. It doesn't matter. Forget tactics. Leave your feet.
Because I know what happens.
Forget about it.
They don't fit together. You can't put those guys together.
Oisín is setting himself up nicely now for probably leaving out a couple of world-class players like he did last week. So
there's no world-class players. There's no world-class players in my 11. It's a world-class team.
Yeah. Okay. So, mine's pretty I think all of us are going to have a lot of the same players, but I got Van der Sar in goal. He's the best that I've seen. For me, Schmeichel is one of my favorites, but I have to nod to Van der Sar. I just do. My back three are Rio, Yapstam, and Vidic. I don't think anybody's going to get by those three guys. I'm sorry. If you do, you're not going to have legs left. And I'm just my two center midfielders are Keane and Scholes to play there.
Okay.
I was giving everybody grief in the chat, but you got to go with them. And then on the left and the right, I got Giggs and Beckham to play the wings there. And then I have to play behind the striker. I have Rooney and Ronaldo to play there. And then up top, I have the King.
Right.
I don't think you can go wrong with that. And then, my four honorable mentions, I kind of tried to piece it together a little bit. I am a big Ji-Sung Park fan, so I would put him there. Ruud van Nistelrooy, Robin van Persie, and Steve Bruce. So kind of one at every position, if you want to kind of throw it out there like that. That's mine. Looking at it the way those guys play with Beckham and Giggs flying up and down the wings, and then Ronaldo playing up
never flew
behind
up
the
the wings.
striker. What's that?
Beckham never flew up the wings.
Well,
Beckham had no pace. Now, that was the biggest thing Beckham didn't have was pace. Well, and headering and beating a man.
From the wing, he's gonna be putting balls in the Ronaldo and Rooney and
I agree with that. But I mean, to say he was flying up and down the wing, I mean,
he'll be fine. So I mean, that's what I have there. And then
a little bit disingenuous to Beckham there. I won't lie now. I mean, he finished runners. He should have won the Ballon d'Or in '99. He finished second to Rivaldo, who didn't get out the group stage of the Champions League.
Yeah.
I will say Beckham was world class at crossing, but we can never say Beckham ever beat a man dribbling past him.
I disagree.
I disagree with that too. I mean, he may not. I mean, he may not look like Ryan Giggs flying down the wing, but he's gonna. He did enough that, like, I watched the overlap with Thierry Henry, and he said all you have to do is enough to get by to make the cross. You don't have to completely beat him. You make the move and you get by and you make the cross, and that's what Beckham does, and that's what I have him in on the wing to do that. And I mean, like we say, I mean, none of us can go wrong with putting our top 11 out there and everything like that. So I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. So,
well, right. Well, I have a question. Okay. Uh-oh. No Neville and no Irwin.
You know, I like Irwin, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge Gary Neville fan. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's later in life and how he acts and how he is. I've discounted him. And Irwin, I do like, but playing the 3-4-3 and having those big 3 trees in the back, I don't think you need. I mean, I think I'm good with that at that point. You know, and I'm not trying to say Irwin. You know, he's in there. I'll put him on the bench instead of Steve Bruce, maybe. But I mean, the problem is that in my formation, I kind of go like for like at that point. So all
right,
that's where I'm going. So
anyone else? Right, we'll get to it. I think right. Well, it's an interesting start. That's what I will say, because obviously with your formation and you know, with how you set up and so on. So right, happy days, right?
And we'll have writing down these teams. Are we just going to try and remember who they were?
Say that again, Ocean.
We'll remember.
Just saying, it's somebody writing down these teams.
I'm not scared. We can all get online and we can put on, you know, FIFA, and we can put the all-stars together. We can battle each other, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to win. So.
Fair enough. Right, Ben, we'll move on to you then. Let us know first and foremost your formation.
I've gone old. I've turned into Oshie 4-4-2.
Excellent. Right, walk us through it.
Van der Sar in net.
Yeah.
I think that's obvious, like Chris says. I think he is a better keeper than Schmeichel when he was there. So I've got Jaap Stam and Vidic at the back. Gary Neville at right back. Dennis Irwin at left back. Scholes, Keane at middle at park.
Yeah.
Then I've got Giggs and Beckham. And this was an odd one, but I've gone Ruud van Nistelrooy and Cantona up front.
Right. Okay.
And then obviously the four mentions that I've got Rooney is in the mention. Park G, something like you say, because Michael Carrick, underrated. Yeah. Best underrated player I think we've ever had. And Rio Ferdinand.
No Ronaldo on the team.
No Ronaldo?
No. Nope.
That's what you get for going for on an interview with fucking Piers Morgan. Yes. I'm all for it. Fucking all for it. Right, so no Rio Ferdinand. So a lot of people would say he's the greatest, one of the greatest all-time Premier League centre-backs. Give us your reasoning around not picking, like, if you were talking Stam and Vidic, maybe two similar types of centre-halves.
Yeah, just crop everybody, won't they? Wipe anybody out that goes near him. That's the reason.
Right. Okay.
Old school, that's how you want it, innit?
Yeah.
I don't know how many games he'll be able to play after yellow cards, but
well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So, and then you've gone up front. Then you've gone Cantona and
Ruud van Nistelrooy.
And so the greatest goal scorer in United's history is not making the starting 11.
No.
Wow.
All right. Bold call.
I mean, that's the problem with the 4-4-2, though. It's very tough.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I had him in at one point, and then changed. I couldn't leave Ruud van Nistelrooy out.
4-4-2, Chris. There is no problem with the 4-4-2.
Oh my God.
It's just fluid, isn't it? You know, it's interchangeable. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. Happy days. Right. We're getting somewhere now. Right. We'll move on to Desi then. Have you overcomplicated it, Desi, or what's going on?
Don't overcomplicate nothing.
Right. Let's do it. Right. What's your formation?
I went for Oisin's formation. I went for Schmeichel.
Schmeichel, okay.
So I went right back Valencia. Centre back, I went Nemanja Vidic, Jaap Stam.
Okay,
Left back, two centre midfielders, Scholes and Keane. Left wing, Giggs, and on the right I put Ronaldo.
Okay.
Up front I put Wayne Rooney, and from left to right. On the bench I have Cantona, Ferdinand, Nicky Butt, and this is probably one out there, but I liked them. When I was watching them as a kid, would be Andre Conchelskis.
Oh,
yeah, I did like Conchelskis. Yeah.
Who do you have a left back, Desi?
Dennis Irwin.
Oh, Dennis. He cut out. I didn't hear him.
Dennis, but I don't want to. Well, that's interesting now. Okay, so give us your thoughts. Give me your reasoning, say, for Schmeichel over Van der Sar, first and foremost.
I love Schmeichel. I just think he's the leader. And he turned up in big games, Jack. I know, look, Van der Sar did too. You know, and I'm not disrespecting him. It was a very tight call, but growing up as a child, I always thought that there was no keeper like Schmeichel. And that was my reason for just picking him. And I love that he came to United. So, yeah, no, I just had to go with him. Two centre backs are from, you know what I mean? And real. Yeah. I was thinking of, when I was doing it, I was thinking of, like, who's the real leaders that we have? And, like, Dennis Irwin was really good at set pieces as well. As good as he was a left back, he was really good at set pieces. He was a dead ball specialist at times. Keane was a no-brainer for me. I don't think we've seen anything like him. Scholes and him were a match made in heaven in my eyes. Giggs obviously in his prime. You know, nobody could get near him. Then Ronaldo again, back in his prime. He was brilliant, I think. And then Van Nistelrooy was one of my all-time greats. You just score all the time. Mm-hmm. And I just think that overall that team as a collective has a bit of backbone and has goals and pace. So
yeah,
that was the real reason for picking it.
Can't disagree with any of that, man. Can't disagree with it. Right, Oisín, on to you. I presume if you don't go 4-4-2, we may end the show now.
I went 4-3-2-1. Did I? Fuck, I went 4-4-2. This is 4-4-2. I had 4 non-negotiables who were going to go in there, no matter who went around them. I tried to pick my team on what made United successful: flying wingers, counter-attack in football, players who could mix it up as well as play ball. So everyone on this team, I think, could stand up to a man if it came down to it. So between the sticks, I've got Van der Sar.
Yeah.
At right back, I've got Dennis Irwin. My 2 in the middle are Stam and Vidic, and Evra as my left back.
Okay.
Midfield, I've got Keane and Scholes in the middle, Giggs on the left, and I'm starting Conchelskis.
Wow.
And then up front, I've got Cantona and Rooney.
How happy were you to hear Desi putting Conchelskis as an honourable mention before you, like, knowing you were next?
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, at least Chris probably would have waited to give me grief anyway, because he likes Desi, but he doesn't like me. So, you know. And then my 4 on the bench are Rio, Ruud, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Mark Hughes. They're my 4 on the bench.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. Can't argue with that. So you're basically putting Evra ahead of Neville as a fullback.
Well, look, I did go down the rabbit hole here. I started thinking, okay, who were the best 11 I saw? And I put that down on paper. And then I started thinking, okay, Chris is going to pick me apart here. So I better have a backup. And I tried to go, if he plays here, can he play here? But Irwin was going in the team. And I doing my research, which is unlike me to do research. I looked at Erwin and Evra, and Erwin has got 33 goals for United. Evra has 19. Evra and Erwin were the new full backs before the new full backs were a thing. They could get forward, they could defend. Erwin could take a penalty, left and right footed, could take a free kick. And Evra was the same. And Evra played with a smile on his face, which,
drove everybody mad.
He hates Liverpool. He can't not be in that team. Neville, I just thought he was too, and he'll say this himself. He was too limited a player. Didn't have a lot of pace, didn't have enough goals to fit in my team. But he is a club legend, It was a coin flip for Anthony Arkansas for me. It was down to it. I mean, the middle two, Stam and Vidic, like Chris said, who's getting past them? No one.
My problem with Neville is that, I hate to say this, it's going to sound like disrespect, but it's not really disrespect. But is he more of a product of who was around him, and that's how good he was because of everybody else that was around him? And not that he was that good of a – I'm not saying he's not good. Don't get me wrong, but because of who he had playing in the back and everybody around him, did that make him better than he actually was? And that's my problem with him because, like what Desi said, like I like Antonio Valencia because the guy's stout. Like he's up and down. He's strong. He's not going to take any shit from anybody. And same thing with Everett too. I love Patrice and everything like that. But it's just I would take both of those guys over Neville, to be honest with you.
Well, the thing about it is that Neville wouldn't have Neville didn't get to the first team at Manchester United with the likes of Stam beside him and Bruce and Pallister. You know what I mean? They came after they were already there when he arrived. So we can talk about him. You do not get into that Manchester United team, the most successful period in United's history, and stay there for the best part of 15 years without being really, really good, in my opinion.
He also kept one of the best fullbacks on the other side of the pitch because he was there. Exactly. Everyone's a natural right footer.
Yeah.
And Aaron was already over there to make room for Paul Parker, which I don't agree with. I mean, thinking of there was an episode of The Overlap where it said Stuart Pearce could have come to United. If we had Pearce on the left and Aaron on the right, Neville's not getting in there. I know Keane took the piss on that episode, but it wasn't going to happen.
Why did they never go for a fullback then? Why did Ferguson never try to replace him?
He probably just Beckham in front of him. I reckon it was Beckham that kept him in the team because him and Beckham played well together, didn't they?
Yeah.
And he did everything that Ferguson ever asked him and then some.
Exactly. But everybody did that because you had to.
Well, you had to, but at the same time, I think he's more of a staple because you put him, and again, no disrespect him, but you put him there and you knew what you were going to get. And because you didn't need him to be going up and making the crosses. You needed him to be more balanced because if you have someone on the other side that's constantly going forward, he can drop in and drop in on the right side and not always go forward. Don't get me wrong. I was never a huge Gary Neville fan.
We should really be keeping this for the combined 11 part at the end, by the way. But
I think he was more Team Phil, really, Chris.
What's that?
You were more Team Phil.
No.
I just
think it was more. I think it was more balanced than anything, because you can't have everybody flying up the field. And I think with Neville, you didn't have to ask him to do it because he didn't want to do it, and yet it was okay that he's not going to catch any shit for being out of place or doing anything because he's always going to be in the right spot.
And, I think Neville's game was mainly overlapping Beckham.
It was, yeah.
So that about not getting up the pitch is a total lie. Because if you watch any of the replays of when he played, he was told to either, if Beckham wasn't on a run or if he wasn't a run, he to get on an overlapping run. 9 times out of 10, if United were playing it wide, he never was making an overlapping run down to the byline.
Yeah, but you're making an overlapping run down the byline, but I'm talking about getting in and in what I guess now what wing backs do and fullbacks do. Now they're getting in the box and they're getting the back post and doing that kind of thing and really getting in to score goals. He was doing overlapping runs to get the cross in and so forth. But I just don't.
There he is.
You can't really compare Neville's game 20 years ago to now because no fullback.
You can't do that. That's unjust.
No fullback was doing what they're doing now.
Did they have Onana in goal? The other team. Jeez.
Don't deny me. Anyway, I'm going to give you my 11.
Here we
right?
Go. Oh,
Don't worry. There's no real shocks, and I will tell you now that Gary Neville is in it after all of that conversation. I have it on the sheet here. I should probably have got all of these from ye, but I've gone with Van der Sar as well in the goal. Neville, Stam, Ferdinand, and Irwin. So no Vidic for me. I just think the balance of Ferdinand and Stam I just think they would be. I think they would be better together than Vidic and Ferdinand would be, in my opinion. And I feel a little bit harsh as well because, you look at Bruce and Pallister were absolutely fantastic players as well, and they're not even getting a mention by any of us, and they probably should. Scholes and Keane in the middle as normal. Giggs on the left. I've gone with Ronaldo on the right. As much as I don't like him, I just think what he done in that 3-year window was just absolutely phenomenal. 3 league titles, Champions League, Ballon d'Or. It annoys me to put him in, but I have to. And then it's Rooney and Cantona up front for me. Now I was mentioning 4-2-3-1. Like I could easily envisage something like that because Cantona liked to drop out. I know Rooney did as well, so you could probably do that. You know what I mean? Like that ain't a bad team either. You know what I mean? We're talking now about how Bruno dropping back here, another world-class player like Paul Scholes, alongside someone like Keane.
I don't know about your 4 subs up there though, Jack. That's pretty cool.
Don't mind them subs. Don't mind them subs. My honourable mentions then are David Beckham, Jaap Stam, Michael Carrick, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
You have Stam in your 11.
You Stam on the pitch.
Oh, sorry. I meant to say Vidic. Sorry. Vidic, Beckham, Carrick, and Ollie. They're my...
I just want to say one thing I've noticed, just putting it out there. Not one of you have mentioned this world-class player we argued so much over last week. No one has him in the team. Just putting that out there, just an observation I'm making.
Well, I think if we're talking about getting Bruno into that team, who do you take out? You know what I mean? I think
that's why you won't take anybody.
No, but I think it's quite. I mean, are you going to be better than him?
You know who I take out there? I take out Ronaldo. I think, in fairness, Ronaldo was only coming to the start of his world-class phase there. He wasn't quite there. He did his best stuff at Real. I don't think we fully saw the best of Manchester United. I think you could put Bruno in there over Ronaldo for what he's given to the team if you're going to go with that. That's who I would take out.
What's that?
That's why I want him on my team.
Right, so if I'm putting... well, let's do it then, Oisin. If I'm putting Bruno in here, what's your formation?
I'm playing Bruno out on the right just to get him in there.
Oh, just a straight swap. Before.
Yeah, straight swap. I mean, you do have Neville behind him who's solid defensively, so you wouldn't have to worry about defending there. And you've got... I'd swap Keane and Scholes just so Keane covers more of the right-hand side, and then that's you covered.
So you're talking about taking out a world-class player and putting in a non-world-class player.
I don't think Ronaldo was world-class when he was at United the first time around either. I think he got to world class when he was at Real.
Do you not win a Ballon d'Or by being world class?
I don't think he was world class at United. Not the first time around, not the second time around. I think he got to world class.
What was world class at Real Madrid that wasn't world class at Manchester United?
I just think he was still learning his game at United. It took him a long time to get to where he was.
No. What was world class at Real Madrid that wasn't world class? What he done at Manchester United?
He just knew his game more at Real.
What?
He just knew his game more at Real. He was still learning his game at United. He wasn't quite there.
Yeah, but it's the Spanish league. Everybody has room in fucking the Spanish league. Anthony looks world class at Real Betis right now.
The beauty of opinions is everybody has one, and it can all be different. If it was all the same, it'd be very boring.
100%. I think he was just as good at United as he was at Real Madrid. The only thing that happened to him when he went to Real Madrid was he had a better squad around him then, which helped his game. I think he was still world class when he was with United though. And then he went there and it helped his overall game with the better players being around him.
I think with Ronaldo, I mean 42 goals in a season is absolutely unbelievable. And I know he went to Real Madrid and he scored more, but anybody would score more in
Spain,
in La Liga than they would in the Premier League. You know, I think 42 goals in a season is just absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, I don't see how you get a Ballon d'Or without being world class. But again, that's just me. Right. Did you guys see the stats of his new contract? Just give me one day of his wages, just one, and I'm a millionaire.
1 minute.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
They said his stats. His yearly salary is $222.5 million a year. He gets $4.25 million a week. He gets 15% ownership. His signing bonus is $3.6 million. He gets $100K per goal, $50K per assist, $10 million for a signing, $10 million bonus for winning the Pro League, $5 million bonus for the Golden Boot, 8.1 if they win the AFC Championship. He gets $5 million in private jet expenses covered, $75 million worth of sponsorships guaranteed. He has, and this is his staff that they're giving him per contract: 2 chefs, 4 security guards, 3 drivers, 4 housekeepers, and 3 gardeners.
I wonder if the club forgets to pay him for his assist. Does he ring them up and go, "Come here, you'll never put that above into the bank"?
Ringing up HR and going, "Here, what the fuck is going on here?"
You better have the scorekeeper in his pocket. Like, it's just
right. Let's try to do a combined 11. So of everyone we picked, right? Starting with the formation, obviously. We all, except Chris, went for a 4-4-2. So I think it's fair that we stick with that. So more of his pick. I think with Desi, were you the only one to pick Schmeichel?
Yeah.
Are you happy to have Van der Sar in it?
No.
Right, lovely. Argue away there for about 6 minutes and kill a bit of time. Argue your point about Schmeichel ahead of Van der Sar, then at least.
I just think he's an all-round better goalkeeper, Jack. What would be the argument that Van der Sar is an all-round better goalkeeper than Schmeichel would be my question to the boys.
Right, here's my argument, right, with Schmeichel. I think he made more mistakes than people actually know. I have a habit, right? I have a habit when I have a few pints in me and I come home from the pub, I turn on the 99 league campaign, the 99 season, and I watch it from start. In other words, it has the highlights of every game. It's about 45 or an hour long. The amount of mistakes that Schmeichel made that season was unbelievable. And I mean, he made a mistake in the final as well, where he didn't trust his wall. He stepped to the right and he was beaten on his near post. Didn't he make a mistake against? He
made more than one mistake in that final. I mean, he was all at sea. Yeah, Basler's goal, Yanker hit the crossbar. The occasion completely overwhelmed him. I mean,
what about the semi-final in the cup then?
But it was a toss-up for me between Van der Sar and Schmeichel.
If we're going to talk about all his bad points, like you know what I mean? Like but
if you look at Schmeichel versus Van der Sar, which is what we're doing here, right? Schmeichel was there longer. That's a given, right? And he was peanuts in terms of a signing fee. But if you look back on Schmeichel, you could pinpoint between November and January. There was going to be a period there where he was going to concede at least 10 or 12 goals in a very short space of time, right? Van der Sar didn't have that. Schmeichel had a lot of bluster, shouting and roaring, and giving shit to the fullbacks. There was no need. It was just to make up for his own mistakes. Van der Sar didn't have to do that. He was calm. He was collected. He was this classic Dutch keeper. His distribution was better. And Schmeichel had that long throw, whereas Van der Sar's distribution overall was better. And there's two reasons why. The two big reasons I didn't pick Schmeichel was Aston Villa and Man City. He told us as fans he was quitting to go to the continent. 1 season later, he's back. And he went to City. That should be enough for any United fan not to pick him in their top 11.
No. Right, I'll agree. Move on to the next one.
Right, okay. Back four. I was typing into ChatGPT there. Who's better, Schmeichel or Van der Sar? But I didn't get time. Right, we're on to the back four. Right, Neville. So we've had a couple of different scenarios here. Neville, we'll go with right back first. So Neville, we've had Irwin, and we've had Valencia. Am I right in saying that?
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
No, Everett was at left back.
Okay.
I'd Everett at left and Aaron at right.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna go with
that one. I would put Irwin at right back and Everett left back, and leave Neville.
You would.
Out. Yeah. I mean, I would leave Neville out and put Everett at right back. To be honest, I mean, I think Everett's just a better overall.
I think you're being extremely harsh on Gary Neville.
No, I don't think so. I think both of those guys. I think Everett offers so much. I think he can do everything that Neville does and offer much more. That's just me. I mean, I just think that Everett's everything that Gary Neville was, and then some. So, I mean, I like Irwin there. If we're going to do a 4-4-2, I like Irwin there, but I'm sorry. I got to go with, I mean, I don't know if I can make the argument for Valencia over Neville, but I love the big, I'd rather have Everett over Neville all day, every day.
Ben?
Yeah, I get that. I was close to putting Everett in my team, to be honest, but you're not going to drop Irving, are you? So I'm happy enough for Everett to go right. Everett to go left back, Irwin to go right back.
Desi?
Yeah, I go. Do you know what? I actually forgot about Everett, to be quite honest. Don't know how, but out of those three, probably that would be the right call if we're going Aaron left. Is Aaron going left? I can't really see that on the screen.
Sorry, Irwin is. I can't zoom in. It won't let me zoom in any further. Wait, no, let me see.
Irwin's at right back.
So Irwin at right back, and Evra then at left.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. The two easiest positions then, Keane and Scholes. Was there anyone close?
What happened to the center backs there?
Oh, the centre back. Sorry. My apologies.
He tried
Just trying to scoot over that. Right. So give me your arguments then. So look, Stam is in for everybody. And obviously the debate here now is between Ferdinand and Vidic.
I had Rio in and out of my team. I mean, it was a toss up for me, but I just went with Vidic just because I just loved how he put himself about. But Rio could go in there just as easily, just because he was a Rolls Royce of a defender before that was even a turn.
But if we're going by the logic of who's better, and I think the Evra Neville debate, is if that's our yardstick, then Ferdinand has to be in the head of Vidic because he's a better footballer.
I think Vidic was a better footballer.
Do you think so?
I think he was quicker than Ferdinand as well.
Well, he was. I'll give you that. Ferdinand did lack a little bit of pace, but
Vidic tackled harder.
Yeah, but I do have to agree with Jack on the ball. Ferdinand was a better footballer than Vidic, I think.
Right, and there's probably a little bit of bias with myself because I played centre back and I'm small, but I read the game quite well, so I always give credit to that side of Ferdinand's game. His orchestration of the team was absolutely phenomenal. Nobody got out of line. Everyone knew where they were. His communication on the pitch was fantastic. He was the Pallister to Steve Bruce. You know what I mean? And I think any good centre-back partnership has had one of them types of players.
Well, are we going to have Vidic on the bench then?
We'll have Vidic on the bench.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
That's fine.
Come on,
Yeah.
Chris. Argue your point, Chris. Come on.
I'm trying. I just think that for everything that you say about Ferdinand, he reads the game well. I think that Vidic read the game just as well. He just went in and tackled, and he did everything. I think that what Rio did, I think Vidic could do all of that. It's just the fact
I think when them two played, Vidic was more the man to do the donkey walk more so, and so the roles could have been reversed there if you like.
I agree with that. But I don't think that
we didn't get to see that side of Vidic. We never really got to see.
I don't think that Rio could do what Vidic did, and I think that Vidic could do what Rio did.
Yeah.
Now, would I say that maybe?
I disagree.
I mean, I just think that Vidic, once he came into his own, he could do everything. I mean, he tackled hard. He read the game well. He was into the tackles sometimes before the ball was even there. I mean, before the player was there, he was reading the game and everything like that. And I just think that the only part that I would say that Rio is better than Vidic was, okay, I'll give him that he plays the ball better out of the back. But, I mean,
his organization. It's so vital. If you've got nobody at the back organizing, you're in serious trouble.
I think
Stam and Vidic were too similar. They both go crashing into stuff. There'd be no one there to say
both of them would go.
Exactly. It would just
both
be
of them would just get stopped out.
But there's no one foot on the ball, is what you're saying, like.
It's just everyone would be drawn to the ball, and there'd be no one kind of reading the situation. Is what I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My problem with that is that if you had, let's say you put Vidic and Yapstam there, I think between the two of them, one's going to communicate and can orchestrate, and the other one's going to go and run and kill the ball. I think you get both. I think that when Rio was there, he was the one that always said, hey, I'm just going to do this, and you go do that. Where I think between the two of those, Vidic and Stam, you're going to get both. One's going to go, one's going to come back. They're not both heat-seeking missiles with no mind. That's just going to be like, I'm going to kill somebody.
If you watch old games, Stam and Vidic were very similar. They both went to win the ball. Ferdinand was the person stepping back, waiting for the second ball. There was just that bit of, and Stam or Ferdinand was directing Stam or Vidic to go.
But if that's what I'm saying, though, Oshin, if you don't have Ferdinand there, you don't think Stam or Vidic would control the other one to go do this?
I don't think it's their game, because even when Stam went to Milan afterwards, he was still the battering ram, and he had players mopping up behind him.
And look who Stam had playing beside him in 99,000. It was Ronnie Johnson, a very similar player to Rio Ferdinand, an organizer, a calm, composed figure beside him that could, just organize and not get sucked out. Fuck you. Ferdinand and Stam. That's what it is. All right. I'm pulling rank.
Objection.
Ding, 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 ding. Right, okay, that's the back four. So we've gone with Evra, Ferdinand, Stam, and Irwin. I mean, that's a pretty solid back four, in fairness, with Van der Sar behind. Keenan Scholes then in the midfield. Was there any debate about this with any of you? No. It is a bit harsh on Michael Carrick, because I think he's, someone mentioned it, the most underrated player ever to play for Manchester United.
You know what was frightening though, Jack, looking at that? There was no one that really came close to him.
No.
Like, I mean really close. Like, I don't mean close. Like, there's a few players, but there's nobody that comes close to them too since they've gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Frightening, isn't it?
Frightening.
Like, yeah. Right. Left-hand side. Any complaints with Giggs?
No.
I don't think
13 Premier League says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Even if he is riding his brother's missus, you know what I mean?
That's the missus' fault, not his.
Yeah. Right-hand side now. Right-hand side is going to be one of contention. I think we can get rid of Bruno, because I don't think he is going to be the right-hand side. So what we talking? We're talking Beckham or we're talking Ronaldo, aren't we? I had Ronaldo.
So Kanchelskis doesn't get a look in at all with what he did.
Right. Well, I mean, I'll let you go.
I would put Kanchelskis over Beckham, because if Kanchelskis was running at you, defenders were backpedaling. You didn't know where he was going to go. He had defenders on a string. Yeah. But I think he comes after Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo has to be the first choice right side midfield if we're going 4-4-2. But Francesca's a close second, but Beckham third is what I would do there.
I have to agree with that. I mean, I think Ronaldo is. I do. And to be honest, I'll play a Desi card. I kind of forgot about Kanchelskis there until someone said his name, and then it's just like when you say his name, you go, "Oh crap!" Like it's.
He has to be in it, really, doesn't he?
What's that?
He has to be in it, really, doesn't he? Like
who, Ronaldo or Kanchelskis?
Yeah.
Ronaldo, I think he does. I mean, the season that he had the 42 goals and what he can do from there, and I mean, he has to.
I hate him, but
I get it.
Yeah, he always annoyed me because even from an early stage, it was all you could see with him, wasn't it? It was never about United with him. It was always about himself, And look, obviously, when he's putting away 42 goals in a season, you learn to live with it a little bit. But I mean, how it ended, and I mean,
the image that lives in my head for Ronaldo is there was a Champions League game. I forget who we were against, and he had that absolute stinker, and Ferguson took Giggs off, who he wasn't playing well anyway, but Giggs kept shouting, "What about him?" And all Ronaldo was doing that whole game was step overs and show pony shit. I think in the same game, Ronaldo got sent off with a sarcastic clap.
Right.
And that image has been in my head since Ronaldo's been there, and since then I just can't like him.
Yeah, well, it was his second spell for me. You know what I mean? Refusing to come on, walking down the tunnel before the game was even over, leaving the stadium, and not congratulating his teammates or commiserating whether we won or lost. I can't remember. And then how he left and that Piers Morgan interview, and people saying to me that Ronaldo is a Manchester United legend. Fuck off and don't deny me. You know what I mean? There's, people that died, trying to go and play games for Manchester United.
I think what annoyed a lot of United fans was the stage of his career he was at and the carry on that was going on, and particularly when we didn't need the Piers Morgan interview at that current time.
Yeah.
I think for someone that acts like a lot of players, ex-players that played with him would say how professional he was, even from a young age, and staying behind the training sessions and very dedicated and, never really stepped out of line. And then he comes back at a time of his career where he's seen it all, done it all, wore the T-shirt, and you think he can come in and correct a few of the lads with their attitude, and then he does that and you just think, what the fuck is going on here? I think that's what put a real sour taste in all the United fans was we were sick of it anyway, and then we were never expecting him to do it, and he done it. And that's why he'll probably never really be a legend in anybody's eyes, Manchester United fan.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The problem with the Piers Morgan thing is it's hard as hard as that was to listen to and everything like that.
Look, he might, but you know what, kids? He might have spoke some truth in that interview.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it was true.
The problem about that was there was no need for it. We didn't need it as a club at that particular time, especially from him. He could have spoke a lot of truth. We don't really know. I think he spoke.
But my problem is, and I get it, and I understand it, but you could also look at the flip side of the coin. And I'm not saying he's the reason why things are changing or anything like that. But what would we still be going down the same road if he didn't speak the truth? If he didn't put those things to light?
We need to be consistent here, Chris. You can't give out the Garnacho with tweets and then say Ronaldo was right going on television with Piers Morgan. You have to be consistent there.
I mean, much different, Chris, if he goes on to that show and he's performing out of his skin and he's acting professionally, and then the fans might say, Jesus, we weren't expecting that because he's doing everything right on the pitch. But the fact that you could nearly see his temperament in some games, and as Jack mentioned, going down the tunnel before the game's finished, and all this crack, it didn't have the cause whatsoever.
No, I get it. But I mean, I get it, and I understand. But the problem is with the Garnacho thing is I'll leave it to Ronaldo, but he earned the right to be able to criticize, where Garnacho hasn't earned the right to do shit.
No, I don't agree. Agree 100%.
That's the only. To your point, O'Sheen, and I'm not saying he was right in what he did with Piers Morgan or anything like that, but he kind of earned the right to go ahead and say, "Hey, I need to get the fuck out of here."
I disagree. He didn't earn the right. He came back and started. He ruined Solskjaer's. I mean, okay, he wasn't a Solskjaer boy. He was a club boy. No. Just give me a second here. Ronaldo should never have been there in the first place. You know, he wasn't what the club needed at the time. Okay, you all know I don't throw this word around lightly. He was a world-class player. He came back. It's someone that we needed to lead the team. Well, he wasn't doing it on the pitch either in that season. In the previous season with Solskjaer, he was doing well under Solskjaer and Ragnar. He wasn't tearing it up either. But under Erik ten Hag, he threw his toys out of pram very early on. So he hadn't earned the right to go on TV at that point. He wasn't performing.
He wasn't.
Okay.
You have to back your chat. If you're going on giving it to Billy big balls, you must be doing something else on the pitch to back it all up, and he wasn't at that current time.
Yeah, I mean, there's too many of these. Look, there's too many of these pictures that, you know, just sour it for me. You know what I mean? Wanting off down the tunnel.
I get it. I mean, I don't love that. I don't love that either. But you know, I mean, like we said, I guess I'm taking the player that he was when he left, and not this player.
Yeah.
Because that's not the player I'm putting in the squad. I'm putting
exactly.
If he was the player when he left and he came back, I'd agree with you, Chris, but he wasn't the player anymore. He was at least 2 years too old to play at Old Trafford. He should have gone straight to Saudi, you know?
Yeah, and I think probably the main reason why United actually signed him in the first place was because of the threat of him going to City. You know, and that's another fucking thing. He was willing to go to City, you know? And that was that, you know.
Should have let him go to City and let him ruin his club legend or his status.
No, but see, the thing about it is if he had gone to City, he would have scored another 40 goals. Just how they were. Well, he would have got at least 20 goals that season because of how
he was set up looking for someone like Ronaldo at that time. Yeah. They didn't have Haaland yet or Haaland yet.
That game absolutely suited him down to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, the slow, methodical possession retention game. It would have been ideal for him.
It does suit him down to the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Chris, see you later. Anyway, let's talk about the forward line, lads. Right. So, Cantona, Rooney. I think we've had a couple of shouts for Van Nistelrooy as well, have we?
Yeah, I put Van Nistelrooy instead of Rooney.
Right. Okay. Well, look, I think Rooney is in. Anyway, I think everyone has said Rooney. Have they? Or
no, I didn't. I had Van Nistelrooy and Cantona.
Right. Okay. So Cantona is definitely in then. Right. Give me your reasoning behind or argument about putting Van Nistelrooy in ahead of Rooney.
Just for the striker, he's a better finisher than Rooney.
Thanks for watching.
It's just for the goal scoring. I think Van Nistelrooy, who's going to score more goals than him up front. I think Rooney was more all round better player, but just as a striker, much would have worn him back in the net. Ruud Van Nistelrooy.
Well, if you put Van Nistelrooy in there, you can't play with Ronaldo because they don't get on. So he's not going to pass the ball to him too soon.
Yeah, so put Beckham back in then.
Yeah, so take out Ronaldo, put in Beckham and Van Nistelrooy. Is there an argument there, Oisin, you were mentioning it there, but is there an argument for Van Nistelrooy if he had the longevity maybe of Rooney, that he could have maybe got numbers like that? Or is there also another argument maybe for the Rooney camp to say, well, Rooney got all of them goals without ever really being the focal point as United striker?
I don't think Van Nistelrooy was ever going to have longevity. I think he was a 3 or 4 season player. The kind of game he had, he would have been cut out. He lost a yard of pace. I think he only had about 4 years there anyway. I don't think he would have played much more. Rooney scored goals from everywhere. Yeah. Literally, he played on every position and he scored from everywhere. I mean, on his debut, he scored a hat-trick in Europe. You just knew he was destined for greatness, and you can't have a United Premier League 11 without the top goal scorer in United.
Yeah, Ben.
Sorry, Ben. I respect you, but you're wrong.
So this week it's going to be, look, whether you're right or whether you're Ben. So are we happy? Is everyone in agreement then with Cantona and Rooney?
Cantona has to be there because he started it. He started the dominance when we signed him. He was the missing link. So he's got to be there too. I know he was only there for 3.5, 4 years, And he kicked the fan, which puts him right up there in my respect as well.
Yeah. Crystal Palace.
The Leeds fan too, right?
Yeah.
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
Oh, Crystal Palace. That's right.
Yeah. So that's it then, guys. That's our combined 11. I think that team wins the league 9 times out of 10, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a shame they're all over 50 or overweight. They'd be clinical now.
Well, I tell you, some of them would probably still get a game now, to be honest with you. Bring back Ronaldo for a third time.
Like what Desi said is like it's when you look at that, it hurts to look at that and say we don't have anybody to even touch Scholes or Keane in the midfield. Like
I think Carrick gets close.
Okay, I mean Carrick gets close, but I mean
in place of
Scholes.
Since that era, even like if Carrick's the closest we can get to, it's frightening to think that that's the closest we can get to.
Who the bloody hell have we had in midfield since then?
We've had Cleverson, Anderson, Hargreaves,
Fred McTominay. Jesus, we had about 6 years.
We had safety whistle. We had McFred. I mean, it's hard to look at.
We also had Schneiderlin, guys.
Oh,
Schneiderlin was our first
Casemiro with clutches.
I was going to say, Chris Schweinsteiger, I did like. If we had got him 10 years earlier,
exactly.
I did like him.
That's like us buying Frankie de Jong now. It's just
and he scored against. Didn't he score against Liverpool? I think Schweinsteiger.
I think he did. Yes.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
That elevated him straight away.
No, I was excited when we got Schweinsteiger. I was like,
yeah,
Danik and Pogba, but.
D is saying Charlton. So D, obviously, you missed the start. So the rules are it's in our lifetime. So we're going kind of Premier League. So like I'd have George Best in that, and Dennis Law and Bobby Charlton.
Exactly.
In fairness, nobody knows how old D is, so he could be in his lifetime.
That's why we asked the question earlier on, Jack, about does it have to be in your lifetime? Because the one person that was going in was Best all day.
All day. So. Yeah, we won't get into it now, but yeah, Best Law and Charlton are going into that for me. Absolute 100%.
Let's do that for next week then, the overall 11.
I'm hoping that we have some better news to talk about next week.
We're not going to sign anybody next week, guys.
Let's hope. I'm going to go out on a limb and say next week's podcast is going to be a transfer news podcast and back to normality.
United are linked with Mbeumo. Should we buy him? Should we not?
Yeah, a sixth bid has been rejected. But I think if you're talking like entirety, I think there's Best Law and Charlton, and after that, Robson maybe.
Oh, Robson, yeah.
Robson
was there. Like Robson could be in with a shout of Keane because we did see the tail end of his career. But
we saw Robson post all the injuries. He wasn't the player that he was.
Yeah,
in the 80s, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't really get to see Robson play too much. I mean, I'm the oldest one here, so it's just like I mean, I see the highlights of him, but I didn't get to. I can't remember like watching Robson any of the highlight games that he had. His best games, I can't remember watching those.
Where did Brian McClare play?
What's that?
Brian McClare played late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
What was his position?
Up front.
He did the modern number 10 kind of idea. 9.5, 10.
Yeah, like there's Joshua Zirkzee kind of.
Oh boy, really?
Oh, Joshua Zirkzee.
Right, there's going to come find you for making that one.
What was Jack? What was United's old training ground? Cliff. Yeah. So my grandfather used to have a pub in Manchester called the Victoria Arms, and I must get out the pictures because he got an invite to the Cliff. And I have pictures with Eric Cantona, Brian McClare, Brian Robson.
Deadly.
And only as a child, though. I have them all upstairs. I must pull them out.
Actually, do you know what? Now that you say, now D is after putting in here, great shout. We never mentioned him. Ince. I loved. And now the Liverpool connection aside, I loved Ince. So I did. I thought he was fantastic. Yeah, I know he's a traitor. Yeah, he is. But he had everything though. He was that type of centre midfielder. You know now where you're talking about, is he a 6? Is he an 8? Is he a 10? Bollocks. Ince was all of them. He could do it all. He could tackle. He could bring the ball. He could score a goal. He could pass. Yeah, he was brilliant.
Do you think that? Let me ask this question, Jack. Do you think all this? Do do you think that this is more of a managerial thing where we don't make all around good players anymore? We try to pigeonhole them too much because you're in management now. Like you manage, and everything like that. Like, do you try to look at when you're looking at players and you manage younger players? Do you look at them as a 6 and 8 or this, or do you look at them and say, man, I could really take Oshin and put him in the midfield. He's going to do the job of both. Or how do you look at that now? Because like that's my problem now. Is like when I growing up, it wasn't that you were a 6, you were an 8, you were a 10. It was you were a center midfielder, and you needed to do the job no matter what, whether you defended, whether you played, you attacked, and so forth. Yeah. Like, do you think that's a coaching error or a coaching problem going on? Or
I think at the highest level, I think because the game is so structured and the opposition are so structured, it forces you into being that way. You've got to be, because they'll exploit the spaces behind you. But say from where I'm coaching at a junior level, I think, especially with centre midfield, you're looking first and foremost for lads with the fitness levels to play in the middle of the park that can go up and down. And then also just the basic technical abilities of putting your foot in the ball and carrying it and being able to pass. That's it. You know what I mean? I would like, I'm always, I like to have a focal point in the midfield. I don't like calling it a number 6, but a guy that won't get ahead of the ball. But he's also able to read the game and organize the 2 boys with him, or the 1 guy with him, or the 2 wingers, or whatever. Yeah. Like what a Ferdinand do. Sorry?
What age level are you doing?
I'm doing men's junior football, so I'm doing the second team of freebooters this season.
All right. I'm with Boyan Rovers in my local area, head coach.
Lovely. Happy days. We might get an out pre-season friendly going, will we?
Yeah, we should do.
Come on down for the session.
We'll
live stream it on YouTube. But anyway, guys, look.
Yeah, that's an idea. That's an idea.
That is a good idea. Yeah, absolutely.
So have we had? I was gone most of the day. Have we had nothing relevant happen?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The one, if you could call it positive over the last couple of days, is we seem to be getting a little bit more talk about outgoings, which is good. It looks like Sancho to Juventus is picking up a bit of pace.
But is that a sell, or are we swapping?
It's a sell, I think. Well, it's a permanent move. Whether it's going to be done as a swap deal or not, I don't know. But I mean, I'd love
getting instead of
either Vlahovic or Douglas Luiz. Yeah, I take Douglas Luiz.
Does that mean that Lehman comes to the women's team then as part of that deal?
We'll make a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they bring the money. So,
but he's on. See, Vlahovic is on 300 and something thousand euro a week. He's triple. Is he? I think he's triple the second highest paid player at Juventus, and he's only like 25 or something, and he's done next to nothing. You know,
no, he's that. From what I've read about him, and because when I first heard it, everybody says he's that rock star, striker that got everything too soon, and now he's just not. He doesn't work. I've heard that he's just lazy. Like he doesn't have.
So we're swapping Sancho for Sancho, is what you're saying.
Well, I had heard that Douglas Luiz is going to be. That's who Amarin wants. That's the last.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about bolstering up that centre and midfield role, then Douglas Luiz is brilliant, and he's Premier League proven. Yep. You know, and the only reason Villa got rid of him is because they needed to sell for PSR. So and he scored after the only fucking thing. It was like Cherokee when he grabbed his nuts against United, right? He done that fucking yoke. Remember when he scored against us, Douglas Luiz, a couple of seasons ago, where he got down in front of Onana and done that to him? Yeah, fucking prick, yeah.
But the question is that you I mean, Luis is good. His injury history scares me last year because he was hurt more than he played. And but other than that, like the whole thing about what happened to PSR, and I thought Villa had to sell someone before July 1st.
But what happened is they sold their women's team back to themselves, and that's going to count towards PSR.
What?
Yep.
Oh. And what about the superstar Rashford? What's happening with him?
He's waiting to go abroad, to be honest with you. Doesn't look like
Barcelona or something.
Bayern are looking at him, but he's on a list of about 5 or 6 left wingers.
Yeah, but I don't think out of those 5 or 6 left wingers, none of them are like they said Barco or Barcola from from PSG. They're not going to sell him.
Nico Williams is on that list as well.
Nico Williams.
Luis Diaz was on that from Liverpool. He's not playing today. He's not playing.
He turned that down. And then they also said Rafael. The only one that's possible is Rafael Leao from Milan, but I don't think they're going to sell him.
No, he only signed a new contract last year, didn't he?
That's what I thought, but that's why I think it's like they had 5 players, but like none of them were realistic compared to Rashford. Rashford's probably the most realistic if he would go there, and they said that they would pay his wages.
Please God. Well, in fairness, that's the one thing about Bayern. They do give big wages, in fairness to them. So, look, we'll keep an eye on it and we'll keep everyone up to date. But I think we'll leave it there, boys. Appreciate you coming on, as always. And like I said, you know, I think that's a good team. I think it's a good team. But anyway, appreciate you listening or watching and everybody else and that's tuned in. And boys, I'll talk to you over the weekend. Appreciate you stopping by. Talk to you. Thanks everybody for watching as well, guys. Do appreciate it as always. Smash a like in the video. Subscribe if you're new. That was our starting 11 combined. And let us know yours in the comment section below if you haven't already done so. I do appreciate it. I'll be back again tomorrow. I'll be tomorrow morning with a morning news show and then again tomorrow night with our normal transfer show at 9 o'clock. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great night and chat to you soon. Take it easy.